In the beginning we only knew darkness. We were formless and empty within inside. And when God said, "Let there be light," it means that Christ was made known within us. And the separation of darkness and light within us is made known, is made manifest. And in the darkness we began to grope around, seeking the truth, seeking the understanding and knowledge of God through the written word. We seek after knowledge of good and evil, and not understanding that the written testimony or the written testimonies about Christ from beginning to end was so that we would look for God in the darkness. And in our darkness, some of us have decided to look for God. And we look for him within. And he makes himself known. He makes himself manifest from within. We don't come to understand or realize this as we grow in knowledge of the written word, which is true, but has no life. We come to the spiritual understanding that that life is Christ, who is in all and through all. The separation of light and dark within means Christ is made known, is seen, is visible within us. And so too, God calls us to come into that light, to come out of that darkness from within and into the light of Christ, which lights up every man. We no longer choose the darkness that's in the world is not understanding that Christ lives and is in the earth and always has been and rules over the earth. Coming into the light means we look to him for all our answers, for all our understanding, and we have no need of anything else. It is from the light within that the truth is made known of all things, and therefore we are set free from all things and from all deceptions and all barriers and hurdles and giants. And many of these hurdles, giants and barriers come from the teachings of man. And it's these teachings of man which hold a person back from seeing the light or from walking in the light. They bind people in the darkness, in the abyss. And when we come to understand the living Christ, we break free from those chains and begin to walk in the light. And it is then that all things are made known, that all things are seen, and all things are realized. It is revealed from him. It is not of our own understanding. And we come out of the knowledge of good and evil once and for all to see Christ. This is our purpose and our journey as sons and daughters of the living God. This is what we're called to do. And while the mix and melee of every wind of word and teaching and idea goes on in the whirlpool, we stand outside and observe. And so others occasionally may look up and decide to look for the light, because they realize that the written word hasn't brought them life. It brings them an understanding of Christ. And we look for the real living Christ, as who is in all and through all. And so we can learn all things And so he is glorified from within you. And you too will be glorified when others look up from that mix and melee of all the ingredients from man that are in the pot, and they look up and see the light, chinks of light in the darkness, and begin to look for Christ themselves. This is the purpose. And it's not about scriptures, how many scriptures we know, the interpretation of scriptures. The testimonies from within are what will bring light, life and healing to other people. How that word is spoken. It is a reconciling of all things back to God through that living word from within. And this is what we're called to do, to reconcile. We are part of that work, to reconcile all things back to God. And it's not through anything we've done. You are vessels. You are chosen vessels to be light, to proclaim that light, to be the living word, to be those words of life that Christ gave in those written scriptures, to become that light. This is your purpose. And so we leave behind the written and come into the living word, which is true, which will help in the healing of the nations, healing of hearts and minds. And so when God said, "Let there be light within you," it is then the Messiah Jesus Christ is revealed within you, and so too will be revealed in all those who stop looking into the darkness. And we have no need to go back into the darkness, to look back into that darkness, but rather keep on walking in that light, in the fullness of the fruitage of the Spirit, to become Christ-like, to become like God, knowing all things. This is Father's purpose for all his children, to reconcile all things back to himself, whether things of heaven or the things of earth. And so too we have to leave behind the doctrines, ideas and teachings which have enslaved all for centuries. And so too the light of Christ is seen in the earth. And many will say, "Come, let us go up to the mountain of God." It's all spiritual. It all takes place within. And we leave behind our own fleshly thoughts and what the truth is.